Okay, so what did we say earlier about when we set up a new station or a new setup, we always want to build one light at a time, right? We don't want to just throw them all up and hope for the best. So that's because we're professionals and we can just throw it up there and it will look good, but
see, there's a lot of pretty light coming in the window already.
There is, but this is not a natural light workshop, okay? But hold on. I need to charge my, I mean, I don't need to charge because I came prepared and brought batteries, but I need to swap my battery. So I'm gonna actually turn this light off. Are they all off right now? All right, so right now what's coming in is strictly, look towards the window actually. Like, that's literally just natural light from the window, which looks really beautiful, and I would probably just end there and be done with it, but that's not what we're doing. So how do we get rid of window light? Well, there's lots of ways, but let's go ahead and just, actually, I'm just gonna lower the backdrop, yeah. That's the easy way, sorry. What is the number on that? Sorry.
Gee, it's underexposed now.
So that is the power of just throwing some paper in front of a window, is now we got a completely blank screen, which is exactly what we want here, because now I want to start building my set, right? And now my video on the other side of the thing, so I'm just going to go ahead and shut that off. Here we go.
The next question is, going to be enough light to see you?
No, probably not. All right, so we are going with a hard light source for this shot, right? And we can kind of play around with it. If we wanted to do less hard, we can do a few things. But I think hard light is kind of nice to be able to play around with it. I'm not saying we have to always do hard light, but it doesn't, just because it's soft light doesn't mean it's the only good light, right? Like, you can get good hard light. So we'll kind of, but with this, I will kind of tell her, like, this light is, what I'm telling you, this light is your key light. So kind of cheat your face probably up towards that light a little bit. You just kind of know that that's where it's going to be. So let's go ahead and start. We'll just do one shot here. What light pattern is that? It's kind of a trick. It's almost Rembrandt, but it's not really. All right, so now let's go ahead and throw this guy in for fill. And this could be kind of like, that could be the fill, this could be the key. Doesn't really, and now we've got the one in the background here. And let's go ahead and turn that power all the way up. And also, just for fun, because that's kind of like a bluish color on the background, let's go ahead and turn the white balance there a little bit down. Yeah, you know? And then just, let's throw these on for, and I'm kind of looking at this already, and I'm like, I kind of want to soften the light on this just because it's, you know, I like hard light, but at the same time, I'm like, and she's got a face that can work with hard light. It's not like if I was in there, you'd be like, please put a softbox on there. So another thing too, what I want to do is kind of explain, like, you know, obviously if it's a client coming in, like, they know what they want, right? But in this case, like, she's kind of like just here sitting there. I haven't told her like what the mood is, what the style is, anything like that. So in that case, it's kind of nice to be able to tell them. So this one is going to be a little more like moody. Like, that stuff over there was like super bright and fun and happy. This is a little more moody. Maybe even turn it black and white, something like that. So I'm thinking with like facial expression more on the serious side, no big smiles like that. Like that over there is like, I think, in the direction of what we want. But I just need to make sure that I've got the.
Do we see the difference between the rim light on and off?
Yes, if. And it might be something where, was it on? I don't even know. And I might need to raise them up a little bit. Are they doing anything?
Hardly anything.
All right, let's do this. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, well, I can turn the power up on those because they were. Yeah.
I think the other lights were overpowering them.
Yeah, I think so. But I had these now we've got. So what we can do though is kind of play with that. If we know that these lights are not going to be as powerful as the other ones, we can start kind of getting our exposure based on these lights, right? Basically work with the exposure from the lowest powered light. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's just double our ISO. I'm up at 1600 ISO now. All right. It looks like we got a little bit of frizzies on the hair. I don't know if I should have brought spray. Brush would be great, yeah. All right, so that's just the rim light though. Once we start adding in our actual lights, it's gonna, so let's start working from the back forward. So let's add just the back light there. I'm just kind of curious if I go like, I know that's like way too, like I actually kind of like how that looks. And that's literally just indirect ambient light, like wrapping around this, right? So I, as someone who doesn't like to do what I was originally planning, I'm going to kind of lean into this, all right? So obviously I would just drag my shutter to a 20th of a second. That's actually like way sharper than I ever would have imagined at 20th of a second. One thing that is downside of, I'm thinking here, I think I might literally, because kind of to play around with that like indirect light, I might just take this light and bounce it off this wall. Because that's going to essentially create the same look. And then I don't have to, this is driving me insane. All right, so now I'm going to go back up to, I really like how that looked. That looked really cool, but let's just go 100th of a second, and then let's turn that one on. And let's just up the power of that one. It's not going to look exactly the same, but it'll have a similar effect. Like that just helps with it's not so harsh, you know? So I'm never afraid to bounce a light off of let's do this. If we want to just play with that direction, there it is. I have a little bin for a reason and I don't use it. Okay, let's do, all right, who taped it? Why would you tape that? All right, is there another like lighter color? No, it's just black. No, it's just black. All right, well, you can bounce off gray too. It's gonna reflect more. Or it's gonna absorb more of the light. But what we can do now is basically turn this light into our fill. Now this light can be our key, right? Because we have control over this one. Everybody understand kind of what I was doing here? Mm-hmm. Right? If I had that 720, I could bounce it off that and it would be very, very bright. So now we're basically running with this light is our fill light. This one's going to be our key light over here. And it's too bright. All right, so now, remember what I mentioned before? I was like, oh, I need to tell her where the key light is. So now, like, this is gonna be our main light here, yeah. But you can kind of, now that they're a little bit more softer light and they're not like, she doesn't have to kind of stay in it, you can be a little more freely to kind of move around. One thing that I'm noticing though is when she's kind of angling this way, what are we seeing on her face though from her hair? Yeah, it's basically the highlight from this. So there's a couple things we can do. We can just kind of bring this around. Let me see, is that? Okay, let's just get rid of this for a second. So this is one of those things where it really is like, you've got to.
Nobody's in a white Tesla out there on the front. Just checking. Thank you.
What happened? So I just kind of feathered it away. Now, I mean, obviously now I'm like, I had to turn the light down. There's a couple things that I'm seeing here with this though. So now we can kind of play around with that pavo tube there and turn the power down a bit because it's really, really like hitting her hair too much, right? Yep. So one thing too though is, and it's not like a huge thing, but it's kind of bothering me a little bit, is like, because it's so bright on her hair here, like it just looks kind of funky here, where it's like her hair's kind of in front. Mm-hmm. So that might be something where I'm like, okay, do we ditch the rim lights altogether? Do we just make it a hair light so it's kind of like up and over top? For now, let's turn them off and just kind of build it from there, right? Oh. I do have a grid on this. I don't really need to have a grid on it. It just happened to be on there, on this little softbox here.
Is this light coming from that?
That is coming from the pavo tube there.
Oh, I thought that was okay.
It wasn't. It turned off eventually. Like that, here's the thing. Fine, whatever, it looks too much like a school portrait. Right? That's like, if I'm being completely honest. So how do we spice it up a little bit as far as, and I'm not saying that in a bad way. It's not like it's a bad photo. It's just, it is a little Olin Mills. That's it.
Colored smoke, let's add colored smoke.
I mean, how fun would that be? I kind of, yeah, so like I'm kind of thinking, I'm trying to think, like it's with the...
That's really pretty.
It is. I'm just, it's not, nothing's like jumping out at me as like, it's unique, right? Like I was trying to get something where it's like, okay, like, how do I make this a little bit unique where it's not something that you see every day, right? I think maybe kind of lean into, yes, exactly. Like I didn't even have to tell her to do anything. So because of that, I was literally going to tell you to lean forward, so it's actually perfect she did it. She leaned past the light, so now I have to kind of just adjust that a little bit. And it might be something where I, like, see that right there already, kind of. I think the crop, because I can't see the bottom of her hair. I don't know why I like that better. It's kind of the same concept of like cutting fingers off on, like, not really cutting fingers off, but like, you know, having them extend past the frame, which it doesn't usually, which doesn't bother me a ton usually, but it's kind of, but yeah, as far as that, and I think kind of, yeah, perfect. And I'm gonna actually,
Hey Jeff, can that
Yep.
pavo tube set up like that? Can that be used like a projector almost? If you like had some kind of shape that you wanted to project.
as far, like through like a cookie,
Yeah.
you mean? Yes. I don't know that it would, because you would need like a more specular, like directional light. Like that one really does, because remember, it kind of spreads
Right.
it really, for as small of a light source it does spread light.
That one then?
Absolutely. Yeah. The thing is, you got to think when you're shooting something through, like a gobo like that, you're blocking light. So you just have to make sure that enough light will get through.
Yeah.
I mean, because you could literally, you could do that kind of with literally anything, right? You know, so if you did this, you know, you could create patterns with literally anything, right? We'll get there.
This one can't even, if you opened it all the way?
You could, yeah. I just didn't have it open because I did want, I wanted that kind of streak on the back. But now that she's kind of leaning forward, I'm like, do I? I don't know why I'm looking at my iPad. That's not where the photo is. Can you tuck the hair behind the ears just for a couple? Yeah. I don't know why I'm just a fan of hair like that. That's a me thing. That's a preference. Okay, so let's bring these way down. So I'm also going to take these Pavo tubes, and because we've got a the color temperature is warm on the backlight, the streak, I want to bring this one down to kind of match that a little bit. So that way the just the color consistency across the board makes a little more sense compared to if I had it up at 5600. It's going to be a little bit more on the blue side. Not drastically, noticeably different, but I just kind of like having it where it's a little bit more, closer to the, as if because we don't really see the setup, as if these were almost one light source, kind of creating the streak and the rim light. Yeah, perfect. And I'm like, do I even need to add the second rim light? I don't know. I don't think I really do.